What drives ordinary people to commit unspeakable acts of violence? In this gripping exploration, we delve into the harrowing tales of infamous criminals whose shocking stories not only horrified the world, but also left the FBI reeling. Discover the chilling realities behind their crimes and the profound impact on their victims. These narratives will challenge everything you thought you knew about the human psyche. Are you ready to confront the darkness within? Case 1. Ted Bundy. Ted Bundy is one of America's most notorious serial killers, infamous for his charm, intelligence, and the horrific nature of his crimes. He was linked to the murders of at least 30 young women across the United States during the 1970s, though the actual number may be higher, with estimates ranging up to 100 victims. Bundy's ability to blend into society was disarming. He was articulate, attractive, and charismatic, traits that helped him lure his victims with ease. He often used ruses to gain their trust, feigning injury or pretending to need assistance before abducting them. His methodology was chilling. He would often revisit the crime scenes and the bodies of his victims, relishing the terror he inflicted. His killing spree spanned several states, including Washington, Oregon, Colorado, and Utah, demonstrating a pattern of premeditated violence. Bundy was adept at evading capture, using various disguises and identities, which allowed him to evade law enforcement for years. It wasn't until 1978 that he was apprehended after a traffic stop led police to discover evidence linking him to the disappearances of several young women. Bundy's trial garnered immense media attention as he chose to represent himself, showcasing his manipulative nature. He displayed a chilling confidence, often appearing more concerned with his image than the heinous acts he was accused of committing. His courtroom antics included flirting with his attorney and trying to charm the jury, all while maintaining a facade of innocence. Despite overwhelming evidence against him, Bundy continued to deny his guilt, even as he was convicted of multiple counts of murder. Ultimately, he was sentenced to death and executed in the electric chair on January 24, 1989. In his final moments, Bundy showed little remorse, instead offering a chilling confession that hinted at a deeper darkness within him. Bundy's story serves as a haunting reminder of the dangers that can lurk behind a charming facade. He exemplifies how evil can disguise itself in the most unsuspecting forms, a truth that resonates in the ongoing discussions about the nature of violence and the complexities of human behavior. His crimes not only shocked the nation, but also led to changes in law enforcement practices, victim advocacy, and the public's understanding of the psychological profiles of serial killers. Case 2. John Wayne Gacy, the Killer Clown. John Wayne Gacy, often referred to as the Killer Clown, is a pivotal figure in American criminal history, recognized for his heinous crimes that resulted in the deaths of 33 young men and boys in the 1970s. His case serves as a chilling example of the complexities surrounding criminal psychology and the duality of human nature. Gacy was a respected member of his community in Chicago, where he gained notoriety as a local clown entertainer, performing at children's parties and community events. This public persona belied a darker reality. He used his charm to lure vulnerable young men to his home, often promising them work or companionship. Once there, Gacy would overpower them, committing acts of extreme violence and ultimately murder. The bodies of his victims were discovered buried beneath his house, revealing the shocking extent of his crimes. Gacy's arrest and the subsequent investigation highlighted significant gaps in law enforcement's ability to recognize and respond to serial crimes, prompting discussions on how to better protect at-risk populations. During his trial, Gacy attempted to manipulate perceptions of his mental health, claiming multiple personality disorder as a defense. However, the evidence against him was overwhelming, leading to his conviction on 33 counts of murder in 1980 and a sentence of death. Gacy was executed by lethal injection on May 10, 1994. His case remains a focal point for criminologists and psychologists studying the traits of serial killers and the societal factors that can enable such behaviors. It underscores the importance of vigilance in recognizing manipulative behavior, the need for robust support systems for vulnerable individuals, and the ongoing necessity of reform within the justice system to prevent such tragedies from recurring. Case 3. Zodiac Killer. The Zodiac Killer is one of the most infamous and enigmatic figures in American criminal history, responsible for a series of brutal murders that terrorized Northern California during the late 1960s and early 1970s. Despite extensive investigations, the true identity of the Zodiac remains unknown, which has led to decades of speculation and fascination surrounding the case. Between 1968 and 1969, the Zodiac claimed at least 5 confirmed victims, with some estimates suggesting he may have been responsible for many more. His victims, typically young couples, were attacked in secluded areas, and the killings were marked by a shocking level of brutality. Each crime left behind not only a trail of blood, but also a community gripped by fear and uncertainty. What set the Zodiac Killer apart was his chilling correspondence with law enforcement and the media. He sent a series of cryptic letters, some of which included ciphers that challenged the public to decode his messages. These letters often contained taunts directed at police, boasting about his ability to evade capture. The Zodiac's confidence and taunting tone intensified public interest and fear, transforming him into a modern-day boogeyman. The killer's ability to elude capture and the chilling nature of his communications led to widespread media coverage, making the Zodiac a cultural phenomenon. The fear he instilled in the public and the cryptic nature of his letters inspired countless theories and debates among amateur sleuths and true crime enthusiasts. Despite numerous investigations, the Zodiac Killer was never apprehended. Law enforcement agencies have employed various forensic techniques over the years, but the case remains cold. New theories and potential suspects continue to emerge, reigniting interest in the mystery. The legacy of the Zodiac Killer endures as a stark reminder of the darker aspects of human nature and the psychological impact of fear on society. His case highlights the challenges faced by law enforcement in solving complex crimes, particularly when the perpetrator takes deliberate steps to remain hidden. As the search for the Zodiac Killer continues, the case serves as a cautionary tale about the importance of community vigilance and the need for advanced investigative methods in the face of elusive threats. The chilling mystery of the Zodiac Killer not only captivates the public imagination, but also underscores the critical need for ongoing discussion about safety, mental health, and the societal factors that can contribute to such violent behavior. Case 4. Aileen Wuornos. Aileen Wuornos stands out in the annals of criminal history as one of the few female serial killers, known for her violent actions and tumultuous life. Between 1989 and 1990, Wuornos was convicted of murdering 7 men in Florida, a series of crimes that shocked the nation and sparked intense media coverage and public fascination. Wuornos's life was marked by hardship and trauma. Born in 1956 in Rochester, Michigan, she experienced a difficult childhood, which included abandonment, abuse, and a tumultuous adolescence that pushed her into a life of sex work. As an adult, she found herself in desperate circumstances, often relying on her work as a sex worker to survive. Her background painted a picture of vulnerability, raising questions about the societal factors that contribute to violence against women. Wuornos claimed that her victims attempted to assault her during their encounters, asserting that her actions were acts of self-defense rather than premeditated murder. However, the brutality of the killings painted a different picture. The nature of her crimes involved extreme violence, with reports indicating that she shot her victims multiple times and often robbed them after their deaths. The gruesome details of the murders left a chilling impression on the public and law enforcement. Captured in 1991, Wuornos was tried and convicted for her crimes, receiving the death penalty for several of the murders. Her trial drew significant media attention, not only for the horrific nature of her actions, but also for the broader implications regarding mental illness and the treatment of women in the criminal justice system. Wuornos's case raised important discussions about the intersection of trauma, victimization, and violence, challenging traditional perceptions of women who commit violent crimes. Throughout her time on death row, Wuornos underwent psychological evaluations that revealed deep-seated emotional and mental health issues. Her story became emblematic of the struggles faced by women who find themselves in violent environments and the failure of societal systems to protect them. Aileen Wuornos was executed by lethal injection on October 9, 2002. Her life and crimes continue to provoke discussions about the complexities of violence, the impact of abuse, and the societal structures that can lead to such tragic outcomes. Wuornos's narrative serves as a stark reminder of the darker sides of human existence, inviting critical reflection on how society addresses issues of mental health, gender-based violence, and justice. Her story remains a poignant case study in the complexities of criminal behavior and the need for compassionate understanding of those who find themselves caught in cycles of violence. Case 5, known for his methodical approach, dismembering the bodies of his victims, and often preserving body parts in various ways, including placing them in acid solutions. The chilling combination of presenting a chilling insight into his psyche. He claimed that his actions were driven by a compulsion he could not control, raising complex questions about mental illness and criminal responsibility. Dahmer was ultimately found guilty of 15 counts of murder. On November 28, 1994, Dahmer was murdered by a fellow inmate at the Columbia. The complexities of understanding criminal behavior. The shocking details of Dahmer's life and crimes have sparked extensive, serving as an urgent call for increased awareness and preventive measures against violence in society. Case 6. Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker. Richard Ramirez, infamously known as the Night Stalker, instilled a profound sense of fear in Los Angeles during the mid-1980s with a chilling series of home invasion murders. Between 1984 and 1985, Ramirez committed at least 13 murders, along with numerous assaults and sexual assaults, leaving a trail of terror that gripped the city and captivated the nation. Ramirez's criminal exploits were characterized by their brutality and randomness, as he preyed on unsuspecting victims in their homes during the night. His method of operation involved breaking into residences, often attacking couples and individuals in their sleep. The assaults were vicious, involving extreme violence and sexual assault, and his victims ranged in age and background, demonstrating no clear profile. His unpredictability added to the panic that enveloped the city, as residents feared for their safety behind closed doors. In addition to the murders, Ramirez was known for his disturbing fascination with satanic rituals. He left symbols and messages associated with Satan at some of the crime scenes, further heightening the terror and mystique surrounding his persona. He would often taunt law enforcement and the media, cultivating an image of a malevolent figure who thrived on the chaos he created. The turning point in the hunt for the Night Stalker came in August 1985, when a group of local residents recognized Ramirez from a police sketch and apprehended him after he attempted to flee from their grasp. His capture marked the end of a year of fear and uncertainty for the people of Los Angeles. During his highly publicized trial, Ramirez exhibited a defiant attitude, often showing little remorse for his actions. He became a symbol of evil in the public eye, with his courtroom antics and satanic symbols further fueling the media frenzy. In 1989, he was convicted of 13 counts of murder, along with numerous counts of sexual assault and burglary, and was sentenced to death. Ramirez spent more than 2 decades on death row, during which time his case continued to draw significant media attention. He died of complications related to cancer on June 7, 2013, while still awaiting execution. The legacy of Richard Ramirez serves as a haunting reminder of the capacity for violence that can exist within society. His case highlights the need for effective law enforcement strategies in dealing with violent crime, as well as the psychological and societal factors that can contribute to such heinous behavior. The terror he inflicted on Los Angeles underscores the importance of community vigilance and resilience in the face of evil. Case 7. Gary Ridgway, the Green River Killer. Gary Ridgway, infamously known as the Green River Killer, is one of the most prolific serial killers in American history, convicted of the murders of 49 women, with estimates suggesting he may have killed as many as 71. His heinous acts of violence and calculated methods sent shockwaves through the Seattle area during the 1980s and 1990s, leaving a devastating impact on families and the community. Ridgway's victims were predominantly vulnerable women, many of whom were sex workers or struggling with addiction. He would lure them into his vehicle under false pretenses, often promising money or other assistance. Once inside, Ridgway would brutally assault and murder them, often strangling them to death. His methods reflected a chilling pattern of predation that highlighted his complete disregard for human life. After killing his victims, Ridgway disposed of their bodies in remote, wooded areas around the Green River, which contributed to his moniker. The discovery of numerous bodies in these locations prompted a massive law enforcement response, leading to a prolonged investigation that lasted years. Despite the extensive efforts of investigators, Ridgway eluded capture for decades, creating a climate of fear and uncertainty in the region. The turning point in the investigation came in 2001, when Ridgway was finally arrested after DNA evidence linked him to several of the murders. During his interrogation, he provided a chilling confession, detailing his crimes with disturbing detachment. Ridgway claimed that he had a compulsion to kill, reflecting a deeply ingrained psychological disorder that drove his violent behavior. In 2003, Ridgway entered a plea deal, admitting to 49 murders in exchange for a life sentence without the possibility of parole. This agreement allowed him to avoid the death penalty and provided investigators with the locations of several victims whose bodies had not yet been discovered. His cooperation was seen as a small measure of closure for the families of his victims. Gary Ridgway's case serves as a grim reminder of the dark undercurrents of society that can lead to such unimaginable acts of violence. His actions not only devastated families, but also highlighted the vulnerabilities of marginalized individuals, prompting discussions about the need for better protections for those at risk. The legacy of the Green River Killer underscores the importance of effective law enforcement practices and community awareness in preventing violence. Ridgway's story is a stark warning about the complexities of human depravity, illustrating how evil can manifest in unsuspecting places, forever altering the lives of those touched by his horrific crimes. Case 8. Andrei Chikatilo, the Butcher of Rostov. Andrei Chikatilo, known as the Butcher of Rostov, is one of the most notorious serial killers in history, convicted of the gruesome murders of 52 individuals, including numerous children, between 1978 and 1990 in the Soviet Union. His crimes, marked by extreme brutality, mutilation, and cannibalism, left an indelible scar on the fabric of Russian society and highlighted the dark underbelly of a nation grappling with its own societal issues. Chikatilo's early life was troubled, characterized by a dysfunctional family, poverty, and bullying. Growing up in a war-torn region, he faced significant hardships that would shape his psyche. As an adult, he struggled to maintain stable relationships and often found himself at odds with societal norms. His inability to connect with others, combined with a deep-seated sexual frustration, fueled his violent fantasies. His killing spree began in the late 1970s, targeting vulnerable individuals, often young girls and boys, runaways and sex workers, luring them with promises of money or companionship. Once in isolated areas, Chikatilo would unleash his violent urges, committing acts of unimaginable brutality. His methods included stabbing, mutilation, and, in some cases, cannibalism, which reflected his profound detachment from the humanity of his victims. Chikatilo's reign of terror lasted over a decade, during which law enforcement struggled to catch him. The Soviet Union's bureaucratic inefficiencies and reluctance to acknowledge the existence of a serial killer allowed Chikatilo to continue his heinous acts largely unchecked. During the investigation, numerous suspects were wrongfully arrested, and Chikatilo's ability to evade capture only added to the public fear and frustration. In 1990, after a lengthy investigation and increased pressure from the public, Chikatilo was finally apprehended. His confession revealed the depths of his depravity, as he recounted the details of his gruesome crimes with chilling nonchalance. The trial that followed became a media sensation, drawing international attention to the complexities of criminal psychology and the societal factors contributing to such violence. Convicted in 1992, Chikatilo was sentenced to death, a punishment that many felt was insufficient for the horrors he inflicted. He was executed by firing squad on February 14, 1994. His case remains a poignant example of the interplay between psychological disturbance and societal failure, raising questions about the protections in place for vulnerable individuals. Andrei Chikatilo's legacy serves as a chilling reminder of the potential for human evil and the importance of vigilance in safeguarding communities. His horrific actions not only highlighted the darkness that can lurk within individuals, but also underscored the need for comprehensive law enforcement strategies and support systems to protect those most at risk. The Butcher of Rostov remains a stark symbol of the horrors that can arise when societal mechanisms fail to address the signs of impending violence. Case 9. The West Memphis Three. In May 1993, the small town of West Memphis, Arkansas was rocked by the brutal murders of three young boys, 8-year-olds Stevie Branch, Michael Moore, and Christopher Byers. Their bodies were discovered in a wooded area near a creek, and the nature of their deaths sparked a whirlwind of media attention, public outcry, and an investigation that would lead to one of the most controversial legal battles in American history. The initial investigation was marred by a rush to judgment, fueled by local fears and sensationalized media coverage. Authorities quickly zeroed in on three teenagers, Damian Eccles, Jason Baldwin, and Jesse Miskelly Jr., largely due to their unconventional appearance and interests, including an affinity for heavy metal music and an interest in the occult. The community, still reeling from the murders, became convinced that the boys were involved in a satanic ritual, despite a lack of concrete evidence linking them to the crimes. Miskelly, who had a learning disability, was interrogated for hours without legal counsel, and ultimately confessed to his involvement in the murders, though his statements were inconsistent and contradicted by physical evidence. The prosecution's case relied heavily on this coerced confession and the assumption of the teenagers' guilt, leading to their conviction in a trial riddled with flaws and questionable evidence. In 1994, Damian Eccles was sentenced to death, while Baldwin and Miskelly received life sentences. The case drew national attention and sparked outrage among advocates for justice, who argued that the three were victims of a flawed legal system that targeted them based on their appearance and lifestyle choices, rather than solid evidence. As the years went by, mounting public pressure and growing awareness of the case's mishandlings led to new investigations. Documentaries such as Paradise Lost shone a light on the injustices faced by the West Memphis Three and the possibility of their innocence. In 2007, DNA evidence emerged that did not link the teenagers to the crime scene, further casting doubt on their convictions. In 2011, after nearly 2 decades of legal battles, the West Memphis Three were finally exonerated. They were released under an Alford plea, which allowed them to maintain their innocence while acknowledging that the prosecution had sufficient evidence to convict them. Their release marked a bittersweet victory for justice, as it highlighted the severe flaws in the legal system and the dire consequences of societal fears leading to wrongful convictions. The case of the West Memphis Three serves as a haunting reminder of the potential for injustice when fear and prejudice cloud judgment. It raises critical questions about the treatment of youth in the legal system, the impact of media sensationalism, and the importance of rigorous investigative practices. Their story continues to resonate, urging society to remain vigilant against the dangers of wrongful convictions and to strive for a justice system that truly upholds the principles of fairness and equity. The West Memphis Three are not just symbols of a legal battle won. They represent the ongoing fight for truth and accountability in the face of overwhelming odds. Case 10. Laci Peterson. The murder of Laci Peterson in December 2002 shocked the nation and became a focal point of media frenzy, revealing the dark undercurrents of domestic violence and betrayal. Laci, a vibrant 27-year-old pregnant woman, was last seen on December 24, 2002, when she went for a walk in their Modesto, California neighborhood. Her husband, Scott Peterson, claimed he was out fishing in San Francisco Bay at the time of her disappearance, a statement that would soon unravel as a calculated deception. As the search for Laci intensified, the public became captivated by the story. Friends and family described her as a loving wife and expectant mother, while Scott's demeanor raised suspicions. His lack of visible grief and contradictory statements attracted the attention of law enforcement, leading to increased scrutiny of his actions and alibis. The investigation took a harrowing turn when, in April 2003, the remains of Laci and her unborn son, Connor, were discovered in San Francisco Bay, just a few miles from where Scott claimed to have been fishing. The manner of Laci's death, determined to be homicide, shocked the public and painted a picture of a crime filled with betrayal and cruelty. Scott Peterson was arrested and charged with 2 counts of murder. The trial that followed was highly publicized, characterized by sensational media coverage and a divided public opinion. Prosecutors painted Scott as a manipulative husband who had planned the murder, citing financial motives and his infidelity with another woman, while the defense attempted to cast doubt on the prosecution's evidence. Throughout the trial, Scott exhibited a calm demeanor that many found unsettling. His actions, such as maintaining an affair while his wife was missing, compounded public outrage. As the evidence against him mounted, including a surveillance video showing him at a nearby hardware store purchasing items consistent with the murder, the case became increasingly one-sided. In November 2004, Scott Peterson was found guilty of first-degree murder for Lacey's death and second-degree murder for the death of Connor. He was sentenced to death, though his case continued to evoke debate and discussion regarding domestic violence, the treatment of women, and the failures in recognizing warning signs prior to such tragedies. Scott's conviction was met with mixed reactions. Many felt justice had been served, while others raised questions about the trial's fairness and the media's role in shaping public perception. In 2020, his death sentence was overturned due to issues surrounding jury selection, though he remains incarcerated as his case continues to unfold in the legal system. The tragic story of Lacey Peterson serves as a haunting reminder of the complexities surrounding domestic violence and the devastating consequences that can arise from deceit and betrayal. It urges society to be vigilant in recognizing signs of domestic abuse and to support victims in seeking help. Lacey's legacy, intertwined with the discussions surrounding her murder, continues to resonate, fostering a greater understanding of the importance of addressing domestic violence in all its forms. Thank you for joining us as we explored these chilling stories that reveal the darkest corners of human nature and the complexities of justice. Each tale serves as a stark reminder of the fragility of life and the impact of crime on victims and their families. If you found these stories compelling, be sure to subscribe to our channel for more gripping content. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Share your insights in the comments section below, and don't forget to share this video with others who might be interested. Together, let's continue the conversation on these important issues.